the registration for members of the Institute, the professional conduct of human resource management professionals, and disciplinary measures for any misconduct. To deeply understand how workers should benefit from this and more, of course, like I said, let me now introduce my guests. Honorable Margaret Rwabushaija, welcome to the program. Honorable Arinitwe Rwakajara, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And Ronald Bbosa, President of the Uganda, is it Uganda? No, the Human Resource Association of Uganda. Is it something like that? I need to get it right.
Human Resource Managers Association of Uganda.
Of Uganda, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. There's a lot we shall be chewing on with regard to what this bill entails, but most importantly, the whole aspect of human resource, and that I'll be coming to a little bit later. Allow me ask Honorable Margaret Rwabushaija to take us through what the bill entails, as you shall be, of course, taking leave from Parliament so that you can introduce this private members bill.
Yeah, thank you very much for hosting us this morning. Once again, I'm Honorable Margaret Rwabushaija, or you can call me Margaret Rwabushaija.
Nambiru. Okay.
And I represent the workers of this nation. I stood on the general ticket because we have 4 as directly general through generations, and then we have 1 representing the women. So I stood with my brother here and others on the general ticket.
So that means there's another MP for women.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have been thinking about this bill for a long time. And on Wednesday last week, 23rd August 2023, I was granted leave. I applied for it. So I moved a motion, and eventually I was given permission to go on leave. And Honorable Rwakajara is the #1 seconder, the first seconder. We have 2 others who are not with us, because I think because it was about networking there. One of them was in Rugazi, another one was coming from Gulu. But all in all, when we talk about this bill, we are talking about standards. We want to make sure that people are speaking the same language when they are at work. Many times we find that people who are in that position, the managers, because it's about management, human resource management, you find that they are not of the same qualifications. Some are lawyers, others are teachers, you know, anything. Others are social workers, others, their course was development studies, you know, and yet they are handling a very sensitive team.
That's right.
Of human resource. And because they are doing that, and also their knowledge is different at work because of what they studied, we think that there's a gap. When you think about, the word professional means you are talking about people of common knowledge with the same skills and attitudes. So if they are not in harmony, all of them, then we are bound to have issues there. And many times we have had colleagues, the workers, we represent workers, but many workers come to us and eventually end up in industrial courts because they feel that the justice was not done initially, and we are dismissed from place of work.
Okay.
But as we talk about standards, also we are saying, can they have a council? Because that would be a starting point of regulating, making sure that they studied the same course. If they didn't, can they be given an opportunity to maybe to have some months or a year off as they study? Because these days we are lucky that we have evening classes, we have weekend classes.
That's right.
So that they can have some kind of common knowledge at the place of work. And they will not be the first, because we know that others have done it before. We have nurses and midwives. They have a regulator, they have a council, and they are really regulated. For them, they even, what I know that they every year they renew their service by giving them a recommendation that these people, this one is qualified and is still at work. And then we have also accountants. We know the courses, even if they are graduates,
that's right,
they still go for other courses on their own. So they can do, if they have done it, we know that even others can do it.
okay.
For us as teachers, a professional, I'm a teacher, they give us, we go and register in the ministry, and they give you a number to show, even it has a year, as to when you got it and what you studied.
Okay.
And you keep your certificate wherever you go, and you are looking for a job, even outside, you must have it. And then we have many others. We have lawyers, they also have a regulator, and many others, let me say. So we are saying these people have been left out. We are looking at standardization, but you cannot standardize if you don't have a regulator.
That is right.
So that's why we think it's important. Then we have also had many cases. I talked about industrial courts. I thought that at one time I was thinking that we have over, I had had about 1,000 cases backlog because of the workers, because industrial court is for workers cases. But I was told recently that if there are more, the backlog goes up to 3,000 cases. So if we are at that level, then we know that there is a problem. How come that they have those numbers at the courts? It means that the workers feel that justice is not being done. And so they seek for justice, but it takes so long because every other person is going, because of the question that we are asking. What is it that has caused these problems? So we think that it can also work. But also we are not the only people. In East Africa we have Kenya. They have the Human Resource Act. And it can help you for reference, because if you are looking at the act, like other labor, like other acts for workers, like Employment Act, you look back and say, what does the law say about this? And then you go within that line. But if there is no regulator, if there is no act, it's very difficult for these people. So that's why, in a brief, why we thought that it was important that we come up and regulate, and we save the workers of this nation whom we represent. Okay,
I would like to just pick on the impetus of saving workers and ask the Honourable, he's your seconder for this particular private first seconder for this private members bill. I wouldn't ask him to repeat what you've said, but in light of saving workers, I know you have conducted extensive research in coming up with this private, as you will be coming up with this private members bill. In a very honest and candid submission, what is the state of workers in Uganda today? What have you found out? What are those aspects that, for example, are going to offer direction in as far as this bill is concerned?
Thank you so much. And indeed, last week on Wednesday, Parliament granted Honourable Margaret Rwabushaija leave and the seconders to go and prepare a bill or process a bill that will be presented in Parliament. And for a long time, this profession has been neglected a bit. And exactly what you are asking is that you will find people who are not professionals managing this office or this profession. And they are managing human resource. And these are real workers that we represent. You'll find someone who has no background on how to manage even 3 people, is the one managing the whole team of a company. And these are human beings that have different issues.
That is right.
They are affected by work. Possibly someone has issues at home. Possibly someone has issues at so many things, in marriage, in what. But remember, they all come in one place to work and increase production and perform to their best. Now, these human beings really need someone who can listen to their issues, understand the situations that they are going through, and deploy them accordingly, or discipline them accordingly. So when this profession is lacking, then there will be a very big problem in an organization, in a company, in a ministry, everywhere. So this legislation basically is trying to ensure people running positions that are not theirs. We need professionals who understand human challenges while doing their jobs, and put them to order and align them, and then increase productivity at work.
What I hear you say is, for example, the private sector must be heavily affected, where organizations and companies have either an individual who is appointed by the proprietor to be able to help in the running of matters for workers there, and not necessarily a professional or one who has knowledge that can deal with a Chris who comes in and has issues.
Exactly. Great. So this profession involves counseling and understanding people's challenges. So and exactly what you are saying. We've been visiting, would be involved sometimes to mediate the relationship of employer and employee. Sometimes they come and report to us. So having a common position or dispute resolution is a very big challenge. You reach there before you talk to anybody. You say, can I talk to the HR? So that I understand why this worker is complaining like this.
Great.
Because this HR is the one that spends most of the time with him. Because a worker can be also very difficult, and he come to the MP and lie, tell stories that are not correct.
That is right. So
you would need to interact with the HR to give you exactly this person's challenge. Unfortunately, you reach in a big company and they will call a squad to interact with you. They appoint him that very day because the MP has come, that this is the HR. so you sit with someone, you see completely, doesn't even know the person they are talking about. So those are the challenges that we think, and exactly what you said, private sector is heavily affected. So if we have a legislation that can help us professionalize this program, that can maybe create an institute that can train HR, that can create a supervisory body or authority or a council that can regulate HRs. The fact is, these are human beings. If you are not a professional, even at work, you will bring in feelings.
Yeah.
You'll say this person
I mean, if a professional can falter,
exactly.
then
what about this person?
What will happen to the one who is not a professional?
Exactly. Yeah. So you say this lady is short, this one is tall, this one thinks he's so beautiful, this one is this one is this. So this is an area that needs
I
really...
hope my colleague Elvis Sedono is watching and listening. He has a tendency of harassing me over size.
You see? You may think you are too tall, you are too what? You are putting on suits every day. So this office needs a professional that can understand behaviors and characters of human beings.
Thank you very much, Honorable Rwakajara. We have a professional, a human resource practitioner in the house or on set. Ronald Bbosa, President of the Human Resource Association of Uganda. There's a lot that you have to take us through, and first and foremost, I would like to ask you, under what ages are you operating as the Human Resource Association of Uganda? Do you have an oversight body that you look up to, or one that ensures that the kind of work that you do or goings on within the association are first and foremost human resource-like and professional?
Thank you so much, moderator. I hope I've picked exactly what you want me to speak to. Currently, we have an association. It's a voluntary association of over 1,200 members. We hit that mark recently. And these are people who have come together to say that we have a lot in common. We run capacity building programs, trainings. But what is interesting is that you may find at any one time when you're running these programs, maybe 200 people in attendance. Out of the people who you have. That's right. Which means that at the end of the day, even if you have training and sensitization that is looking at standards, only a fraction come in. Why? Because it is voluntary. Because we do not look at continuous professional development in a structured way. There is a lot of content and information out there. So if we have a law in place, what it will mean is that people will be having continuous professional development hours, and these will translate into what we use as a weight if we are to renew their certificates and certification. And this is what is happening across the region. I was so happy when I was hearing the Honorable talking about what is happening in the region. You find that if you don't meet a certain minimum number of trainings that you've gone through during a specific period of time, you will struggle to get renewal, which means we are not moving together. And the intention of the bill is to make sure that in terms of what is best practice, what is trending, we all as professionals speak the same language. We understand each other at par, irrespective of the sector you are in, because we are all managing people. That's right. That's what brings us together, the human resources. So when we talk about the Human Resource Management Professionals Bill 2023, this is what it is speaking to, making sure that there is some acceptable minimum. I know people could have gone through academics, you've gone through all that, but are you growing as a professional? As a professional. So the bill, one of the things that is underlying is that actually we will be able to have a structure of tracking how members are growing, such that we are able to make competent recommendations to employers on the suitability of these people to continue with, and we already have a structure in place. What we are lacking is the legislation. So when we talk about professionalism, it comes with a pack of many other things. Okay, essentially the Human Resource Association of Uganda is an assembly of peers who come together as a result of their positions, not training. For example, courses that they did. Is there a specific alignment to, for example, a bachelor's that human resource practitioners ought to have done in order to be allowed into the association, or you're allowing people into the association on account of the positions they hold at any one company as human resource managers? It is both. It is half a house, and that's why we've been yearning for this regulation for a very long time. We have many of our practitioners who have many years of undoubted experience in doing HR work, but it's not documented, as in they don't have a qualification. Somebody did a different qualification, but they were pushed in the deep end, but through their own learning and the volition, they have been able to do that job meticulously. But there are certain fundamentals that we see that lack. The Honorable was speaking to the cases we are having today when we talk about the industrial court. Actually, the industrial court, the cases are about 5,500 since it was started in 2014. So when we talk about HR management, there are three levels. Everybody who has the responsibility of getting results through people takes their share of managing people. But that doesn't make you a professional HR person.
That's right.
I think that's where we get it wrong. That if you have been able to look after a team of 15, of 19 people, then you've managed people. Therefore, you can be entrusted to be their fundamentals. Recently, we've had a number of laws looked at. We have the Employment Act. It is being reviewed. It's at the last stage. We have, for example, the NSSF Act. There are so many changes that are happening in the labor law space. We have health and safety issues. Honorable spoke to some of the welfare issues. So all these require to be in the hands of a professional. It would be disingenuous if you have many laws relating to labor that have been handled, but at the end of the day, the people who are actually handling this docket are non-professional themselves. We ask people, do you have a practicing certificate before you get this job? But the person asking you whether they have a practicing certificate doesn't have one themselves. It's very, very interesting.
Okay, there's a lot of restructuring that needs to,
indeed,
of course, come on board. Let me ask Honorable Arinitwe Rwakajara. Uganda has, for the years since independence, depended very heavily on a vibrant and very productive human resource space. All these years, I know there must be mechanisms that have been helping to either regulate or give direction in terms of how to approach workers' concerns, what they do, how they do it, and where it takes them. Before everything else that is going to be brought to the forefront with this bill, what would you make of how we've been moving as a country in terms of managing people, especially within the public and the private sector?
Yeah. We've been managing people. I think what has been lacking is what we are trying to show. Because we have labor laws, we have many different labor laws. One is we have Labor Unions Act, we have Occupation and Health Act, Compensation Act, Employment Act. So we have different labor laws that addresses challenges affecting workers, and how to run, how to recruit, how to do all these things that have been there. However, the question is, who is managing all this? Like my colleague here was saying, who is bringing together all these laws and operationalize them in workplace? So this has been the challenge. If NTV, Human Resource, is not considering Compensation Act, is not considering Occupation and Health Act, and all these laws, so who is operationalizing this? So all these laws have been there, and as members of Parliament, we have created all these laws so that we address different challenges, including what he was mentioning, the retirement and pension, whatever acts, like of the NSSF, like of others. So we have tried to do all these laws, but now the question has been one. Who is operationalize these laws at a right place in a right position?
It's just a few minutes on top of the hour. We shall be going for a break, but when I return, I'll speak and pose the question about one of the outstanding and long-standing challenges within the labor sector, minimum wage, to the Honorable Margaret Rwabushaija. I don't know whether it's being considered within the bill that you'll be coming up with. Prepare that answer for us. We'll be right back.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Welcome back. You are watching Morning at NTV, and we are discussing the Human Resource Management Bill in our Kickstarter. Before we went for the break, I had thrown the question about minimum wage and whether it has been extensively researched and covered within the private members bill that the MPs are working on, and I had specifically asked the Honourable Margaret Rwabushaija to take us through whether that has been addressed. Why? There are concerns that the workers who need to know that they cannot be paid below a certain amount of money, so that it conditions the kind of approach to the work they do. Whether that can actually ensure productivity remains to be seen, especially in this part of the world. The dynamics are cultural, but also, like the members have told us, could be an issue of professionalism. Let me return to Honourable Margaret Rwabushaija. You didn't want to tackle that issue. I do not know why, but you might throw it to the MP who apparently is.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right.
Once again, for this opportunity. You have talked about the minimum wage. Yeah. To me, it is very, very important because of the lack. What I've seen that in some of the factories, these ones are businessmen or investors in Uganda have even moved to away from paying people directly, and they have created agents. An agent from outside comes in and they want to recruit laborers. I've seen it in some factories, including steel factories. That agent is the one now who is a person who to give any kind of money. They give him a lump sum, and he brings people from outside who are not registered in the organization. That is right. And it is causing problems because now they are at the mercy of an outsider. An outsider. Who comes once in a while and he gets money. I don't know how much they pay them. People don't have to know as workers, but it is him to decide what to give them. But when all that is happening, yeah, like steel factory here in Rugazi, I went there, that's what is happening. And I'm told even many others. Now, when we have all those challenges, my colleague here, I think, has the answer. Because they were the mover of the first minimum wage in the 9th Parliament, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's right. And he knows what happened. But what I know that there are some effort that is being made. We can talk.
Honourable Rwakajara, take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Since I joined Parliament, this is one of the concerns from my constituency. It really affects workers and workers' productivity. I introduced the private members bill in, well, let me say it was, the bill was of 2015. And Parliament processed it up to the end. We passed the bill. It was sent to the President for assenting to the bill. Unfortunately, the Ministry of Labour, our own ministry, technical and political leaders in that ministry wrote to the President not to assent to the bill.
Reason?
Well, reason, possibly the so-called investors who are not really investors, they don't want it. That's my suspicion.
I am praying you get to be very candid and honest about that so that we can understand exactly what is happening.
So, at least I saw the letter. I have the letter of the ministry signed by then Honourable Janet Mukwaya, generated by the technical people. On their advice, the Janet Mukwaya wrote to the President and said, don't assent to the bill. We have put some structures in place that will determine minimum wage. It is very unfortunate. We needed it by yesterday. And unfortunately, the term was ending, the 10th Parliament. Now, 11th Parliament, I have agreed with the Speaker we are going to reintroduce it and be discussed, processed, and again send it to the president.
What was the threshold that you had suggested within the...
This bill was a very friendly bill and an acceptable bill. If it became a law, it would be the best law. First of all, as Parliament, we could not set, it was creating a board. So as Parliament, we could not set a minimum wage.
Okay.
Because we needed a board that will sit, first of all, a representative board. Employers, employees, and government. So they sit on this board and then analyze the situation in Uganda, how much can be paid. Two, it was a sectoral approach, kind of a bill. That this board sits and see how many sectors: agriculture sector, technology sector, media sector, maybe other sectors. So they sit and they fix minimum wages according to sectors. Because you cannot say that an agricultural minimum wage should be like a technological something or communication minimum wage. Because you will find maybe everybody in communication maybe is a degree holder. So when you set a minimum wage basing on the other categories, you may set a maximum wage for people who are supposed to have better pay. So this bill was very good. It was supposed to be set on sectoral. It was supposed to have a representative board, and then they sit and determine how much can be the minimum be.
Okay.
So unfortunately, the political will is still lacking.
So that bill was returned.
It was returned,
and it's...
so we are supposed to retable it and discuss. As long as I'm in Parliament, I will fight for that law.
Now, given the fact that Honorable Janet Mukwaya and the other technocrats were concerned about some of the clauses within that bill, what has changed in order to address what they wanted to, or you're simply going to push as you did that time round? Do you
Unfortunately,
think the circumstances that led to their questioning have changed?
When bills are returned, they are uncomfortable maybe with a certain clause. Unfortunately, this one, they had nothing to say.
So it stayed intact, and you're going to...
It stayed intact, and they said just to return it, that the president wrote saying, I've been advised by the ministry not to assent to the bill. This is very unfortunate.
Okay.
And unfortunately, these technical officers are still in that ministry. So this time, I will start on them. Because they are being unfair to Ugandans, they are being unfair to workers of this country, they are being very insensitive, not to consider this law as very important.
Ronald Bbosa, when you look at the private sector, which I'm sure many of your members come from, the issue of minimum pay, let me use the word pay and not wage, is something that has been a bone of contention, very controversial. And then the mode of business in the private sector is different from the public sector. Perhaps public sector has standards already set. You cannot tell them that I'm a star, I know I can do my work better than Chris. Within the private sector, the talk about pay is rampant, and many people often talk about it on social media. Does that conversation find space within your assembly of the Human Resource Association of Uganda?
Thank you so much for that presentation, because what you appreciate is that because the owners of capital come from a certain perspective.
That's right.
One of the things they want is to make sure they minimize, so that they maximize return at the end of
cost.
And minimize cost. So the fraternity of the HR profession, we are encouraging our people to, first of all, as they play their role as the business partners, they are also expected to be experts at understanding the plight of the people. You as the HR professional. So when we speak about the HR professionals bill, you clearly see where we come from. Because at the end of the day, your role is to make sure you balance the needs of the entrepreneur as well as the needs of the people. At the end of the day, you need to have a fallback. Because sometimes you get into those kind of arguments. Because sometimes these two objectives either compete or contradict at any one time.
They often clash.
And when they clash, the professional, that's when now the professionalism comes in. You should be able to benchmark and say, okay, according to these benchmarks, this is the data.
That's right.
But if you're not part of a bigger fraternity, you may not be able to get the responses to the kind of question that you're asking. Okay. Because we every other time, these are the kind of things that we discuss when it comes to our different platforms, when we are training people.
Okay, I'll be later asking you about talent deployment as an HR professional. You should be able to enlighten us about some of the things. Many times, especially within Africa, many people have raised concerns about being the cases of, finding, putting the wrong person in the wrong place, putting the right person in the, there's a lot of mix-up. How you address that matters, and how nations move forward is down to how human resource managers perhaps manage this. But let me return to Honorable Margaret Rwabushaija. Does the bill cover the country's biggest labor force?
But before Margaret comes in on that minimum wage, I think now I need to use this opportunity to warn the officers in the ministry that they should. I'm happy we have a new minister, and I think I have trust in him. I was disappointed by Mukwaya. Possibly she didn't understand them very well. But the technical people in the ministry... I hope you've had
time to interact with her and express some of these concerns.
Yes, because but the technical people...
It would be good to use the platform here.
I will not mention names, but those officers in the ministry should behave this time, or else we'll go for them.
All right. There you are. The Member of Parliament has spoken.
Yeah.
The largest labor force in the country, agriculture, women continue to be subjected to unfair working conditions. Many of them, it's patriarchal, the fact that they are women, and then the system continuously at every corner kind of puts them in a position that is unfavorable. What is within this bill that seeks to address that almost eternal problem for us?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think here we are addressing the human resource managers, and it is good that we are going to work with them.
Okay.
If they are the people on the ground and they really want the management bill to come out, the human resource management bill to come out clean and also can be of use to the others, because when you make a bill, you don't make it for yourself.
That is right.
You cannot say bill for members of parliament. Maybe one time he did, but what at this point in time, pension, the women, for example, they are underrated. Much as I know that we have a number of human resource managers, 70%. About 70% of they are women.
In the association?
Yes, they are women.
Okay.
So with that at the back, I think we should, I know that they will act like professionals and respect these people. Because at times, if you are not a professional, you begin underrating every other person. And you think that you can call them even anything that you want, even be abusive because you are at the top. But when people are professionals, they are things, they have standards, they have a way, they have a culture, and we expect them to act better after all what we are going through. Because in the training, whatever, even if it's a module, they will talk about human resource management. How do you manage people there must be respect between the two of you. It doesn't matter whether I didn't go to school, but I'm the cleaner. And I clean for your own good.
That's right.
So if we know that it's important and all of us must work at different levels, I can serve you tea, but I must also be clean. And I must be, you should also respect me. Then it will help us. We know that they do a lot of work, particularly in factories. I get saddened when I see the women who sit outside and they are sorting either flowers, sorting coffee, and the whole day they are seated there, but at times they go without even a meal. And when someone has or is affected or has a problem, like we have a union where we have horticulture women, they fumigate the flowers. One time it happened, they fumigated the flowers, the store, and they were told to go inside. When they started laughing and they were doing their work, they closed them in, and the chemicals affected them. That was some time back. So that's lack of respect. And
that was callous.
Yeah, it was bad, and we had to intervene. So those are the challenges that we get, and we know that we cannot take these people to court for the sake of it, but the workers can. We can support them to also to protest.
Can I?
Okay. Quickly.
One of the things that we have done as the HR Managers Association is to sign a number of different MOUs with the different sectors in the economy, in the academia. You must have seen that with the universities and other players. But most recently, we've signed an MOU with Feed the Future program. It's a USAID-funded program. And part of the things that we'll be doing is to support and build the capacity of apex organizations. Most of the sectors we are talking about here have apex bodies, and these apex bodies need capacity building in the area of HR.
That's right.
So if you work with the apex bodies of these different sectors, you are actually speaking to national development goals. So in the area of human capital management, which we believe we will be able to do a good job in the foreseeable future, because we tap into the apex institutions of these organizations to explain to them that we need to push the bar higher when it comes to people issues.
Okay. Gentlemen and lady, we are reaching the rear end of the program. I would like to ask Honorable Rwakajara, take us through the structure of the institute. I see professional, associate, fellow, honorary, these things, ABT, wow, you know. The Ugandan thing about, you know, it has a lot of, the professional are the ones that have come through the academic line.
Yes.
The associate, within the institute, the makeup of the institute itself.
Yes.
Yeah. The associates.
Those who are training, their destiny will be HR.
I beg your pardon?
Those who are still
they're still training.
They are still in training, but you make them to become. But they also motivate them when they know that the HRs, this is the kind of work they do.
That's right.
They aspire.
They aspire to be. And then the fellows.
The fellows are people who have distinguished practice. These are people who have, say, 10 years of practice, and they have done a commendable job. So we'd like to show those different categories of people who... In
fact, I should have asked you the question directly about the categories.
Okay.
My apologies, gentlemen.
No worries. But the issue is that you need to show the difference, such that if I'm looking for a specific human resource, I want somebody who has the experience, has managed more than 1,000 people, definitely I will ask for somebody who is a fellow of the institute, not a professional. So those distinctions will come through. But maybe one of the things Honorable will also be speaking into that in the next 60 or so days, we are going to actually be consulting the different stakeholders in the public sector, in the private sector, NGOs, and other stakeholders. We know there are so many stakeholders when it comes to a bill. We will be reaching out to these different stakeholders to make sure that we come up with a bill that is there is no intention to leave anyone behind.
Okay.
But we'll make sure that that is part of the gist of the discussion.
The gist of the discussion. Let me use this opportunity to offer, for example, to assume you're consulting. Human resource ought to be changed to human capital. The word resource itself, within the dynamics of speech and English language trends, speaks to something that can be exploited. Capital is instead used in such a way that it generates. Resource seems to be derogatory in a way. I don't know whether it has been attended to, and somewhere in there we should begin to look at human capital management, because we, the workers, are critical capital to the organizations and the companies. To look at us as resources that, well, I'm going to use, and then after, if I don't want, I can discard. Or like limestone or any other mineral out there, if it has completely been exhausted, so we can depart and leave the mine, you know.
Okay.
For capital, it's different. I don't know. That's my 2 cents as you begin to work on what the bill will be all about.
Yeah,
Is it something you might consider?
Yeah, we shall. We are going for consultations, and when you are consulting, all those, I think we have picked it, all of us. Then we begin analyzing, because when you also have the resource, they look at the human resource, they look at the instruments that you use, and the money that you use.
So it's
Honorable Rwakajara.
Yes.
Technology and artificial intelligence defines how human resource managers are going to be doing their job, because they are making demands, directives for workers to be able to adopt to the new dispensation of duty. Has it been, or is it going to be attended to?
It is a very important subject in this bill.
Yeah.
First of all, the workers worldwide are facing a very big challenge of technology. Although it sounds a solution, but
it offers new challenges.
It offers new challenges.
Yeah.
But in relation with this, I will not go in too deep of trade unions, how we see technology. But in relation with this, I think the HR training that they are proposing, that they should have trainings. For example, some HRs that have not come to terms with someone saying, me, I'm not coming to office. I will do all my work
they
at
love
home.
to see you, the
physical. So they still have this mindset that they should see stuff.
Yeah.
They should write in the morning in the book that they have all reported, and they are there, and they have left at 5.
Yeah.
Or any time that is agreed to leave work.
Satisfaction.
Yes, that one offers satisfaction. However, technology has again proved that someone can start home and do all his work in 1 hour, and then he has achieved his day work. So this is the challenge, and I believe the human resource practitioners, they have to come to terms with all this. And in this bill, as they said, a good law is an acceptable law by everyone. So in this process of consultation, the bill goes in different stages. So we'll come back with a simple consultation and table the bill again in floor of Parliament, and the bill will be sent to the committee, responsible committee of Parliament. Then also the committee of Parliament will invite all stakeholders, and now I want to invite you in advance on behalf of the committee to come and air out your views.
I am honored.
You are thinking.
I am honored. I have a lot of views.
Yes, so that you also contribute.
Yeah.
It takes time normally.
That's right.
And everybody, all stakeholders, all interested parties will come and present.
Okay. And maybe what I wanted also to mention.
Very shortly, I'll be coming to you, Mr. President Bbosa.
What I wanted to talk about, we are talking about human resource managers.
Yeah.
But among them, we have also the labor officers, and they are HR.
Labor officers must be clustered under the...
Yeah, we shall see how to consult
right now,
them.
what is their...
These people were initially, when they were human resource officers, but then they reached a time when they want labor officers because of what happens at the industrial court and also among us workers. We wanted people specifically to address our issues as workers.
That is right.
Who would be more knowledgeable probably about the labor laws and the like, because the others, I think it fizzles out the labor issues. So that's why we have also labor officers, but they are formerly, most of them, management, also human resource managers.
Okay. Mr. President.
Just a quick one. I think I'll use this opportunity to talk about the state of best HR practice. What is happening in November 15th to 17th, we have an East African HR symposium, which is going to be in Kampala, specifically at Mistil Hotel. We have brought on board the best-in-class international speakers who will be talking to the subject of artificial intelligence. So I just want to call upon the professionals out there and our stakeholders to actually be part of the East African HR Symposium. Because when you see the pricing, we are asking people to pay $600 to attend. Don't expect that one of the things that we want to tackle is the issue of artificial intelligence. We have so many people who have HR policies that are not compliant with the future of HR, the HR of tomorrow.
That's right.
So I'm inviting members to come and attend. The East African HR Symposium is one of a kind. This is going to be the 5th East African HR Symposium. I'm inviting you in advance.
When is that? On
the 15th and to the 17th of November. We will be coming back here in the studio just to talk about the East African HR Symposium.
Okay.
And this is where now people will peek into the future of work and how it will look like. And artificial intelligence is one of the things that will be talked to in greater detail.
Okay. Gentlemen and lady, I would like to give each of you a minute to wrap this up. Anything else that the moderator could have humanly missed or forgotten as we enter the final bend of the program. I'll begin with you, Honorable Rwabushaija.
Thank you so much and I thank through you, NTV, for giving us this opportunity. I want to say that we are going to try our level best to make this bill customer friendly, because we know that our clients, our friends, the HR, they don't intend to be bad. It's only that they need the knowledge.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have the knowledge,
they don't intend to have an attitude.
That attitude. So already they are represented, but we know that even many out there, they should welcome this bill because it's going to change. Okay. It's a change maker to all of us.
Can somebody out there be able to, for example, offer their 2 cents online by logging in somewhere? Are you offering a platform on either Parliament's various platforms where those who are tech savvy and might not come to the committee meetings to consult with you to offer their...
Normally the committee makes announcements and highlights the channels on how you can bring in your proposals.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for us, we are going to identify the different stakeholders and meet them one group at a time.
All right. Is that your last word?
Well, I would like to call upon the public that this is a very important law that needs a serious contribution, because you understand very well that workers are the engine of the economy, and Uganda have been having challenges in terms of work. So we call upon the members of public to contribute. And involve themselves, because a bill is those are proposals from individuals or from government that needs to be enhanced with the thinking of the people and put in better practices in the law.
Mr. President.
Thank you so much, moderator. I maybe want to call upon the people who are still sitting on the edge to join us as an association, the HR Managers Association of Uganda. We have so many practitioners out there who are not yet members of the association, but they meet the minimum requirements. We don't have to wait until the bill is passed to register. Today, when you check online, we've actually put all the members of our association. You can see them online on our website. But I also want to call upon our partners to partner with us. I know we have so many partners that we work with, and this law is intended to help government achieve its national development goals. We know that there are so many laws out there that have coming up. Even the National Health Insurance Scheme, we will need this scheme to be supported by professionals who are HR professionals by an act of parliament.
All right.
So I would like to call upon all the stakeholders. Those laws that you see the NSSF with their ambitious plan 2023. We shall, 2035, we shall actually need HR professionals to be on board to make sure that the NSSF is able to meet that ambitious strategy.
All right, we are glad HR professionals want to be able to help us manage our money at NSSF. That is something that is it's a positive move, and we shall be looking forward to everything that comes with that. I would like to thank Honorable Arinitwe Rwakajara, Honorable Margaret Rwabushaija, and of course the President of the Human Resource Association of Uganda, Ronald Bbosa, for making time and sharing on a very important aspect of human resource management bill that is underway. We do wish Honorable Margaret Rwabushaija a nice time as she takes leave to prepare to introduce that private members bill. I'll take my break.